Dividing with decimals. We're going to look today at a few different ways to divide numbers when decimals are involved. We've previously discussed in class about how we can move the decimal and still get the correct answer and why that works. But we're going to go ahead and review how to actually move the decimal. Here in my problem I have 4 56/100 divided by 6/10. Because I have a decimal in the divisor, I have to move it out. It's going to end up here. And because I've moved my decimal one place in my divisor, I have to move it one place in my dividend, creating the problem 6 as my divisor and 45 6/10 as my dividend. Now, excuse me, I know that I cannot divide 4 by 6, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 up there. And I know that 45 divided by 6 is 7, and 7 times 6 is 42. I'm going to subtract just like I normally do with regular division, and then I'm going to bring my 6 down. I know that 36 divided by 6 is 6. I know that 6 times 6 is 36, and I end up with 0. All I need to do now is bring my decimal point up to the exact place it is located in my problem. And so my answer for 4 56/100 divided by 6/10 is 7 6/10. So let's take a look at another problem. Here I have 136 divided by 4/10. Now we've already said I can't keep this decimal point here. I need to move it over. And that's great. I'm going to end up with 4 as my divisor. But in 136 I don't have a decimal point. Now I know that means there's really a decimal point right here at the end, and that I still need to move it over 1. So when I go to write my dividend, I'm going to write 1, 3, 6, and I have to have something here. So what digit is the same as nothing? That's 0. So when I've moved my decimal in this problem, I'm really dividing 1,360 by 4, and that's going to give me the same answer for my original problem. So I know that 13 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. I'm going to bring that down. 13 minus 12 is 1. And I'm going to bring down my 6. I know that 4 goes into 16 4 times. But I still have this 0 right here. It does have to come down. But I know that 0 cannot be divided by 4 at all. So the answer here is 0. So the full answer for this problem is 340. And that is also the answer for 136 divided by 4/10. It is 340. Let's take a look at the next problem. I have 324 3/10 divided by 6 9/10. This one, I just have one place after the decimal here and one place after the decimal here. So when I move my decimal over, I'm really just moving it out of the entire problem, and I'm going to end up with a divisor of 69 and a dividend of 3,243. This one's easy because now I just have no decimal to worry about at all. I know 69 cannot go into 3. I know 69 cannot go into 32, but I know it can go into 324. And 324 divided by 69, I get 4 groups. 4 times 69 is 276. And when I subtract, I'm going to get 48. Now I'm going to bring my 3 down. And 69 goes into 483 7 times. 7 times 69 is 483. And I end up with 0. Now, I don't actually have to put these zeros on in front of a whole number, so the answer to this problem is just 47. Let's look at the last problem. Here I have a decimal in my dividend, but not in my divisor. So I have 1 and 309 thousandths being divided by 17. It is perfectly fine to have a decimal in your dividend. You just cannot have one in your divisor. So I actually don't need to do any moving with my decimal on this one because 17 is just 17. I know though that 1 cannot be divided by 17, so I'm going to put a 0. I also know that 13 cannot be divided by 17, so I'm going to put another 0. But I know that 130 can be divided by 17, and I would get 7 groups. 7 times 17 is 119, and I'm going to subtract. I'm going to end up 130 minus 119 is 11. I'm going to bring the 9 down. And 119 divided by 17 is 7 again. 7 times 17 is 119. And we end up with nothing left over. Now again, I've got to come back and look where my decimal point is in my problem. It's right here, and it simply moves straight up. So my decimal point goes right there. Now that means my answer for this problem is 77 thousandths. It's very important to make sure when you're doing division that you're putting the correct numbers above the correct digits in your dividend so that when you do move your decimal up, it ends up in the right place. That's a huge area that could have a mistake made because you're not putting the digits in the correct place for your quotient. All right, well, good luck and happy dividing with decimals on your own.